Hi everybody, my name's Kirsty McDermott. I'm one of the teachers for today. Today's session's all about referencing made easy and introducing EndNote. EndNote is a really great reference management software package to enable you to organise your references. So you can build up a library of references, all the things that you've read, and you can import references from a variety of different sources, keep them all together in one place. So it's really helping to organise all the different literature that you've read so that you don't lose track of having different things in different places or printing out references and then spilling coffee on the printout. It's there and it's all in one place and it's accessible, and it's a really good way to manage and track all the research that you've read. So you can import references from a variety of different sources. So search at library on the library website. You can export from many different databases and Google Scholar. And if the reference that you want isn't coming up in any of the databases, you could also create references manually. So EndNote's great. If you can't find a reference, it's maybe a book from 1970 and you want to use it, you can still track that in your EndNote library and create that reference. So another great feature of EndNote is it helps you to do your citations really easily. So you can quickly insert citations into your text and you can create reference lists and bibliographies automatically in the right referencing style. So it's really handy because obviously referencing is a very laborious job and can take you weeks, and EndNote really helps you to speed up this process. So it's a really fantastic feature. So EndNote can also really help you to be organized, so you can create groups of references within your EndNote. So you can have different groups perhaps for different modules of your degree. If you're a postgraduate researcher, you could have different groups for different sort of aspects of your research project. So it's a really good organizational tool. You can also attach summaries to the EndNote records and PDFs and make notes and annotations. And you can also search for your notes as well. So you access EndNote on any of the university PCs. You can also access it via desktop anywhere if you're wanting to access it from home. There's also an EndNote online version called EndNote Basic. So that enables you to sync with your desktop library. So I'm going to do some demos and then we'll have a bit of a pause and we'll recap and just check that you're understanding everything. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now to show you how to open EndNote and save a new EndNote library. To go to EndNote, to load it up, you go to the Start menu at the bottom of the left-hand side of the screen. And a quick way is just to type in EndNote in the search box and then click on the EndNote link. Hopefully you can all see EndNote now on your screens. To create and save a new EndNote library, you just go to File and then New. Okay, and then you save your EndNote library. So call it what you will. Now, I'm going to save this on my desktop, but just a word of warning, don't save it to any desktops in the university, like in any of the clusters, because you won't be able to access it. So when you're saving an EndNote library that you want to work with and keep, always make sure that you save it to your M drive. So save it to your documents and then you won't lose it. So I'm just going to save this to my desktop though, but basically don't you do that if you want to keep your EndNote library. So I'm just going to go into the new EndNote library, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to import some references in there. So I'm going to import some references firstly from the Web of Science. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Web of Science, it's a huge bibliographic database. So I'm just going to do a quick search for references in there. I'm just going to have to access it through Google. You can normally access Web of Science through the library website, but unfortunately today there's a bit of technical issues with the website because it's just come live today. So the Web of Science link isn't working. So I normally show you to go through the catalogue to access Web of Science, which you normally will be able to do. So I apologise that we're going through it through Google today. Okay, so I'm just going to do a really quick search on acupuncture. Okay, so with Web of Science, you can import up to 500 references at once into EndNote, but I just want this page of 10 references. So I'm just going to click select page and then go to the drop down menu and then click save to EndNote desktop. And I want to have all the record content, so the author, title, source, abstract, and then I'm going to click send. So that's pitching through those 10 references into EndNote. So hopefully now I'm going to import 10 references. Yep, great. So with EndNote, I think I clicked that twice, so it's actually imported 20, so it's the same references twice, but that's fine. So EndNote will always show what it's last imported, so that's really helpful. So if there's any problems that's happened with the import, for example, I was expecting 10 references, not 20, so I know something's gone wrong with my import because I clicked on the link twice, so I know that I can get rid of these duplicate references. So it's quite useful if you're expecting to import 500 results and only 50 results have come through, you know that something's gone wrong with your import, so then you can correct that. So to go to all the body of the references in your library, you just click on all references and that will show you all the references there. So I'm going to just show you how to import references from Search at Library. So that's the library search. So if you go to the home page of the library website and type in a simple search of the thing that you're interested in. Okay, so if you want to import any of these citations from Search at Library, you can just click the three dots at the right of the record and then go to EndNote. And then there's a little box at the bottom of the screen asking me if I want to save into EndNote. And then you just click on open. Here we go. Okay, so it's imported that reference from Search at Library, imported one reference. So that's added to my library of references. So now there's 21 references. And if you wanted to import also from Google Scholar, you just go to Google Scholar. To facilitate importing into EndNote from Google Scholar, you just go to the three lines at the top left of the screen, and then you go to Settings, and then you can set it up so that you can import citations into EndNote by just going to the bibliography manager at the bottom of the screen and then just selecting EndNote and then save. And then if I do a search in Google Scholar, it will give me the option of importing into EndNote. So unfortunately, you can't bulk import, so you have to click on reference by reference and patch them through into EndNote one at a time. So say I wanted to import this first one, I just click on the import into EndNote link, and then I get a box at the bottom asking me if I want to open the saved reference. So, and then that patches it into EndNote. So again, it's showing me on the left-hand side what's been imported. So I know that that's worked because I imported one reference and I wanted one reference to come through. And then again, just go into all references, and that shows how your library is building up. It shows exactly what is in there and how many references that you have. So what I'm going to do is hand back over to Emily, and she's going to do some more demos.
Okay, thanks, Kirstine. All right, so we have already shown you then how to set up and save your EndNote library, and then how to gather references from various online sources. So now I'm just going to show you how you can start using those references and start putting them into a Word document. And then after that, I am going to address some other things about organizing your EndNote library, looking after your references, making sure they're accurate, that sort of thing. Just bear with me for a second while I share my screen with you, and we're going to have a look at my library and my Word document. So we're going to pretend that I am a student who is writing an assignment. As you might be able to see, this text is not really very meaningful or anything. It's just there to give you an idea of what a document would look like. Okay, now in this document, I am ready to insert a citation. So what I've got to do is, first of all, I've got to check my EndNote library is open and ready to go. So it is, I've got it there on the screen. Okay, now inside my Word document, what I need to do is choose the place where I want to put my citation. And I'm going to just type a space so that the citation is formatted correctly. It's not stuck to the end of a word or anything. So hopefully you can see I'm going to be putting my citation right at the end of the third paragraph. Okay, so that's where I would like it. Now I need to go to my EndNote library, and I'm going to click on one of my references in my library, and I want that one to go into my Word document. So all I have to do is, up on the top toolbar of EndNote, there's a button which is a red arrow which is going into a document symbol, okay? And that's the Insert Citation button. And when I click it, then EndNote and Word talk to each other and send the details across. And you should be able to see now the citation has appeared in my document. So that's really nice. It was nice and quick, and it has formatted it in a nice Harvard style for me. Okay, I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to click at the end of the fourth paragraph now, and I've typed a space so that there's a space between the word and the citation. And this time I want to cite two different papers at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of them, and then I'm going to hold the Control button on my keyboard, and then I'm going to select the other reference at the same time. And you can see they've both now been highlighted in blue. Okay, so then when I'm ready, I press the Insert Citation button up at the top. That's the red arrow going into the document. And we will see both references there appear in the text. Okay, and there's one citation there, then it's separated with a semicolon, and then my other citation is next to it. So that's great. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of the document, and what you can see is at the end of the text, I also have a lovely reference list has been started up. And every time you insert a citation into your text, the matching reference will appear in the reference list at the bottom of your document. It's very clever, so it will always update itself. And if you're using Leeds Harvard style, it will always keep your references in alphabetical order. If you're using Leeds numeric style or another numerically ordered system, then whenever you insert a new citation, it will keep those in numerical order for you. So it's really, really easy and straightforward to do that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's inserting citations and checking that that all works out. Now, what if I wasn't using this Harvard style with the author's names and the dates? what if I was using Leeds numeric? Well, I can really, really easily change the referencing style in my Word document by going to the EndNote tab, which is at the top toolbar. Okay, and in there, there is a style selection menu. And if you click to drop it down, if you're using EndNote on any university computer or on desktop anywhere, you should have in the drop-down menu the options for Leeds Uni Harvard and Leeds Uni Numeric. And it's Leeds Uni Numeric that I'm going to choose. Okay, once I've selected it, you'll see my citations have now automatically been converted into the citation style. So they've changed into numbers rather than author names and dates. And my reference list down the bottom is now in number order as well. So that's really good. Now, if you are a researcher and you're using a different style, perhaps because you're writing for a journal or some other publication where you're not using one of the Leeds Uni styles, so this is only for research postgraduates, you can select another style from that same style drop-down list. And there are about 6,000 styles to choose from in EndNote, so you should be able to find the one that you need. Every time you insert a new citation into your document, the whole reference list does get updated, so it's always fully up to date with all the correct details. Okay, other things to know about. I'm going to put it back in Leeds Harvard, just because I find that a little bit easier to look at and work with. If you need to add a page number, perhaps because you're doing a direct quote or a paraphrase within your text, and you need to add a page number, that's really, really easy to do. What you need to do is right-click on the citation that you need to add the page number to. And on the right-click menu that appears, right down the bottom is Edit Citation. And you've got loads of different options here. So this is where you could choose, if you wanted to display the citation as author brackets year. So that's really useful if you're talking about the author as part of your sentence. You can also do things like exclude author or exclude year, depending on how you're using the citation in your text. But what I need to do is click on More, and I get this sort of more advanced box opening up. And if you want to add a page number, what you have to do, and this is a little bit weird, you have to choose to add your information in the suffix text box. So I'll start typing. What you have to do is type it exactly as you need it to appear. So I need comma, space, P dot, and then my page number, so 27, for example. Now that's a bit weird because there is also a pages box, but that actually wouldn't display properly in the citation. So we use the suffix instead. Okay, so the suffix, I've written it, I've written comma, space, P dot 27. When I press OK, that will update, and now you can see my citation now has the author's name and the date and the page number at the end. So hopefully that's nice and clear for you what you would need to do with that. Okay, the final thing to know is at any time, if your citations look a bit weird, then something might be happening in your document, which is called instant formatting being off. Now, when I say the citations look a bit weird, what they would look like, I'm trying to get you an example of it. What they would look like is this, with curly brackets and like hashtag marks in there and stuff like that. That's not a properly formatted citation. And what you need to do to fix that is press the button at the top of the toolbar on the EndNote tab, which says Turn Instant Formatting On. And that will update all of your citations to make them properly formatted in the style that you've chosen. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to show you about inserting citations into Word. Hopefully that's all right for you. So we're just moving on now to the fourth section of the webinar, which is features of EndNote. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit more about what you can do with your library. So we are now within my EndNote library, and we're going to do a few different things here to create some groups to organize our library. We're going to work with PDFs. We're going to try and see if we can get EndNote to find us PDFs, but then we're going to put PDFs manually in our library too. We're also going to create a manual reference, and then we're going to deal with reference types and how to change a journal article into an electronic article to make sure that all of the online information displays in your Word document. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk to you about is organizing your library into groups. Okay, this is really, really useful for people who are doing lots of different assignments or projects at the same time. For any undergrad and taught postgrad student in particular, we recommend that you only ever have one EndNote library and you keep absolutely all of your references inside that library. And then to know which references are useful for which essay or assignment, you can use groups to organize them. Okay, groups are really, really useful for putting your references in any sort of different combinations that you want. You can have unlimited groups. The groups can have unlimited number of references in them. References can go in more than one group. So they're really, really useful tools. For research postgraduates, it depends on how you work. You may find it easiest to keep one library and organize your references in groups per chapter or section of your thesis. You may find it preferable, especially if you are doing several projects that are completely different projects in completely different research groups, to have separate libraries for each of those pieces of work. But that's not really something that we would recommend for undergrads or taught postgrads. Okay, so to set up a group, what you need to do is be inside your EndNote library, and you need to use the groups menu on the top toolbar. And when you click groups, the first option is create a group. So I'm going to click on that. And the groups are available on the left-hand side of the screen. So you might be able to see, I know it's really small and I can't zoom in EndNote, but you might be able to see on the left-hand panel, a new group has appeared and it's asking me to type in its name. So I'm going to pretend that I'm writing my final year project, my dissertation, and I want some references to be in a group for the first chapter. So I'm going to put chapter 1. Okay, and when I click away, that group is created. And at the moment, this group is empty. So I want to put some of my references into that group. So what I can do is go to all references, which is at the top of the left-hand panel, and then select the references to put in the group. Okay, again, what I'm doing to select more than one reference is clicking while holding down the control button on the keyboard. And as long as I keep the control button selected, then I can select as many references as I want and they'll all be chosen at the same time. Once I've chosen everything, I just need to click and then I can drag all of those references into the group. Now, if you're on some sort of device that makes it difficult to drag things, or you're just not really a fan of dragging, it is also possible to right click and then add references to, and then choose the group from the menu there. Okay. Like I said, you can have more than one group. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do groups, create group, and then do chapter 2. And then I'm going to select some references for that. Some of these references will also be in chapter 1, and that is absolutely fine. They can be in as many groups as I want, and I'm clicking and dragging, and now they have appeared in the chapter 2 group. So that's a really nice way of organizing your references and getting a sense of what goes where. There's no limit, there's no rules, so you can have groups for whatever you want. Maybe it's on different themes. So you have all of the positive articles about a topic in one group and all the negative ones about the same topic in another group. However you'd like to organize them, that is possible. Okay, now what I'd also like to show you is how to work with PDFs. Okay, so the first thing that is really, really useful to get EndNote to do is to ask it to find PDFs for you and attach them to references that you already have in your library. So to do this, what you have to do is select, maybe by dragging or by pressing Control A, all of the references in your library. And then in References, which is one of the options on the top toolbar, there's the option to find full text. And that's asking it to find PDFs, okay? Find full text. So if I click on find full text, on the left-hand panel, I will see its progress. So at the moment it says it's searching, and hopefully soon it will start finding. Okay, yep. So now we can see, I know it's very small, but you might be able to see it says found PDF 1, not found PDF 3, and it's going to go through and have a look for all of my references. Now, it's not going to be 100% successful. Sometimes the PDFs are not available through the places that EndNote is looking. That's fine, that's okay. Sometimes you may have the PDF or be able to get hold of it yourself, and then you can attach the PDF to the item in your library. Sometimes it may just be that you actually can't access that PDF at all, and you can still, of course, use the reference, but you just can't add and use the PDF within EndNote. Okay, now the way to know if your reference has a PDF attached is to look in this column, the left-hand side of the reference list, and you might be able to see we have a couple of little paperclip symbols. And the references with paperclip symbols are the ones where we have PDFs attached. And if I make the right-hand panel a little bit bigger, on the right-hand side, I have a PDF section. And when I click into it, I can see and read the whole PDF that has been downloaded. I can also do some really useful stuff like highlighting text on the PDF, which is great for taking notes. I can also add speech bubble notes and make comments on the PDF. Okay, and then the notes, you can see just little speech bubbles all over my PDF there. Okay, so that is automatically saved with your reference. So those highlights and those notes always stick with the PDF within your library. So EndNote is really, really good then for not only doing citations and referencing in a Word document, but also reading and note taking in preparation for writing a document as well. Okay, if you have the PDF for something, but EndNote didn't find it and you want to attach it yourself, you can do that by using the paperclip symbol, which is over on the right-hand panel at the top. Okay, and there's just a little paperclip button. And when you press that, it asks you to select a file. Okay, so I'm just going to put a PDF. It's not actually the right PDF, it's just to show you how it works. Okay, so I select the file and press open, and then the PDF appears, and this PDF is now attached to that reference and it will stay there forever. Okay, unless I choose to delete it. So that's great. I've got all of the reference details there and the PDF there, all attached together in my library. So that's really good. Something else that you can do, you can add PDFs straight into your library, and EndNote will try and gather the details of the author and the year and the title straight out of the PDF. Okay, so if you've got a bunch of articles that you've already downloaded and you want to add them into your library, but you don't want to have to get all the reference details first, you can do this method. What you do is you go to File, and then you go to Import, and then File. Okay, you choose the PDF that you want to import. So I've got an article downloaded and ready to go. So I'll choose it in my M drive and then I'll press open. It's really important that you choose the import option to be PDF. There's loads of different options, but the one you want is PDF. And then when I'm ready, I just press the import button. Okay, and it's added there the details of the reference There we go. It's added the details of the reference on the right-hand panel, and it's added the PDF of the article as well. Okay, and it's really clever, and it will bring out as much information as it possibly can. So here it's managed to pick up all the authors' names, it's managed to pick up the title of the article and the year as well. Now, this is actually a really good example of a reference which actually should be an electronic article. So I'm going to show you what it looks like right now by inserting it into my Word document. Okay, so Villaro. At the moment, it looks like a print journal article in my reference list, but I want the URL to display because I think that's important. So in my EndNote library, I can change the reference type of any reference in the library. On the right-hand panel, at the very top, there's a selection list and it says reference type. At the moment, it says journal article, but I want to change it to electronic article. Okay, so when I click that, all I have to do is just check all of the details that they're still in the right fields. So I've got author, year, title, periodical title, volume, pages. That all looks fine. I'll make sure that I actually have, yes, I've got a URL as well. So when I do file and save to save that reference, then I go back into my Word document and I press Update Citations Bibliography on the EndNote toolbar at the top. And when I update it, I will now find, you can see the bright blue URL has been added to the reference and some other important things like online and the access date are also there. And this happens all the time whenever you edit any references in your library. So say you needed to change the title or the author, anything like that, as long as you press File and Save after doing it, and then you press Update Citations and Bibliography, your reference list should be completely up to date and everything should display exactly as you want it. Okay, the final thing that I just want to show you, because we haven't shown it to you yet, is how to create a reference from scratch, okay, a manual reference in your library. Okay, so what you have to do, so this is really useful for, say, a print book or an obscure item that you cannot find online to export to your library, but you still want to have it in your references. So you press the New Reference button, which is up on this top toolbar, and it's a green plus symbol with a document icon behind it. If you want, you can also do references and new reference, and the same result will happen, which is that you get this new page sort of opened up on top of your library. My new reference is actually going to be an electronic book. Okay, and I'm going to start filling in the details. So it's going to be by Smith J. It was written in 2016. The title is How to Use EndNote. It was published in Leeds by Leeds Publishing Company. I'm making up these details, but obviously what you would do is write in all the details of the item that you've got as best as you can. You can always check on the referencing website. If you're using Leeds Harvard or Leeds Numeric, you can check on the referencing pages to work out which of these fields you need to fill in to make sure that your reference displays correctly. Now, because this is a electronic book, I need a few more things. So I need the date that I accessed this book, which was today, so 30th of January 2018. And I need to go down until I find URL, and I'm going to put www.book.com. That's obviously a fake address. You would put in the real address. Okay, so that's all the details that I want to put in to make sure this reference displays correctly. So when I'm happy with the new reference, I do File and Save, and then I can do File and Close Reference to get back to my library. And now we can see that the book has appeared in my list of all my references, and I can insert it into my document. Let's put it at the end of the first paragraph. Okay, by pressing that Insert Citation button. The citation has appeared, and if I go down, here is my reference in my reference list, and it's got all the information that I've just typed in, all displayed properly, just like how we would expect for Leeds Harvard. All right, so Kirstine is just going to share some of our top tips and then tell you about where to get further help.
Thank you, Emily. So top tips for EndNote. It's really important to have just one EndNote library for one piece of work, or if you're an undergraduate, you might want one EndNote library for all your different modules. It gets really confusing if you have lots of different EndNote libraries and you don't know which one relates to which piece of work. So it can get really confusing. If you're a postgraduate researcher, you may wish to have one EndNote library per research project or one EndNote library for your thesis. So always use EndNote from the start of a piece of work. It's really impossible if you try and do things retrospectively. It's just so much easier if you're really methodical and just put all your research into EndNote right from the start of your work. And check your references for any errors, and you can edit your references within EndNote. So if there are any problems whatsoever, it's really fixable, and EndNote's great for removing duplicate references as well. So if you find yourself having hundreds of duplicate references, you can run deduping in EndNote to remove the duplicates, and it just saves you time going through the same references again and again. And EndNote's very good. It doesn't normally crash, but just to err on the side of caution, back up your EndNote library in your Word documents. So you can easily just go to save a copy. So don't worry, you don't need to continuously save your EndNote library. So it will save all the time. So if you import a batch of references, it saves that. You don't have to continuously keep clicking on save. But it's just advisable to actually also save a backup copy just in case there are any technical issues. And the same goes for Word documents as well. If you do a lot of work with your citations, always back up your Word documents just to be on the safe side. So we've got guidance on our library EndNote support pages on the new library website. We've got links to EndNote videos and guides, and there's also an email address that I'll show you shortly as well. So if you find that you need further support from us, please do email us as well. So this is a snapshot of our EndNote support on the new library website. So there's a really good workbook to show you all the ins and outs of EndNote, and email us if there's anything at all that you're uncertain about or anything else that crops up when you start using EndNote. Please do let us know, and do check out the website as well for further support.